Welcome everybody to a look at a new Radiance Films release, and it is the Shinobi trilogy. Now, I call it a trilogy, but there were at least 5 other films that were released after these first 3 films were released. But this is deemed the best of the three, given it's based on an actual, I believe, a book or a manga or something or other. But basically, it is based on prior material, whereas I believe the other 5 were all original scripts. So, yeah, didn't know anything about these. Haven't seen much from anyone that's involved in it, to be honest. The only person that I've seen a great deal from before has been Tomosabu Wakayama, who I've seen in 14 other films. He stars in the first 2 of this trilogy. He was in the likes of the Lone Wolf and Cub films, or 6 of those, and the Bounty Hunter trilogy. He was in all 3 of those, and that was also a recent Radiance Films release. So, yeah, it's been a big year for him in terms of what I've been watching lately. I've seen it must have been like 13 films or so far this year from him. So, yeah, the first 2 were directed by Satsuo Yamamoto, who also did Zatuchi the Outlaw, which isn't the best of. Actually, yes, it wasn't one of the best Zatuchi films. Actually, I've just remembered now that I gave it 4.5 out of 5, and yeah, it was a cracking film. So he directed the first film in this box set, Band of Assassins, which is from 1962, clocks in at 104 minutes long, and like all of these films, they're a period drama with a lot of elements of action and ninjutsu in them as well. So yeah, the first film deals with Warlord Oda Nobunaga, who seeks to unite a fractured Japan. A young man trained in the arts of ninjutsu is manipulated by a ninja master into attempting to assassinate the warlord before he completes his task. So, although I found the first act of this to be a little on the confusing side, as it throws numerous characters, motivations, and political situations at you, which do all get a little bit muddled. However, once it moves past those elements, it becomes a much more coherent effort that allows a really good cast, solid cinematography, and character interactions to come to the fore to help it overall be engrossing. The action scenes are also great. The production is well done. There is plenty of spectacle with an excellent battle scene in the finale. A lot of destruction from these cannons that are firing. I think the Portuguese cannons, in fact, that are firing off relentlessly. Buildings are getting destroyed. People are getting, killed left, right, and centre. It does feel like a little bit of a small scale kaiju film in terms of the amount of destruction that goes on, and the pacing is on point throughout. So yeah, a really solid start to the box set, to be honest. 4 out of 5. Then we have Revenge from 1963. Um, don't think we have. Yeah, we only have a poster on the opposite side that says Revenge there. So we don't have an original poster for any of these, I don't believe. But yeah, it's from 1963, clocks in at 93 minutes long, so 11 minutes shorter than the first film. So this is confident that he has destroyed the Eiga Ninja. The evil Oda Nobunaga continues his quest to conquer Japan. Meanwhile, Ishikawa Gyomon, who is the young man in the previous film, has settled down with his wife and child and wishes only to live in peace. A wish that will not be granted. As mighty warlords battle and connive, Gyomon must once again to try to assassinate Nobunaga in order to save the Buddhist religious community that has come to mean so much to him. But the path to success is once again a twisted one, full of scheming samurai and nefarious traps. So this continues the plot from the prior film pretty much immediately. It's set a year later, but you've still got the same characters. You've still got the same young man played by the same actor who I don't believe I've seen anything from before, but he was actually pretty good in all 3 of these films. Same actor for him, same actor for his wife. His child is in it now, which was a law to in the first film when his wife says she's pregnant, and yeah, it's set a year later, but it does feel quite immediate after the events of the prior film, and yeah, the but it doesn't take long, however, for this to set itself apart from the first, as this is way darker in tone, more downbeat, and has even greater violence. The plot is also swapped around in terms of flaws, as this first half to this is easy to get into, despite its darker tone. However, despite the second half still having plenty of spectacle and great action, does get a little on the muddle side of things. Still, the rest of the positives from the prior entry do still hold true here, and it is worthy of respect in being successful at going for a different tone and succeeding at going for that different tone. So, yeah, overall, a really, really good effort. Number 4 out of 5, as far as I'm concerned. And finally, from 1963 again, we have Resurrection. So, this is directed by Katsuo Mori, who also did 3 of the Zatucci films. The Tale of Zatucci Continues, Zatucci and the Doomed Man, and Zatucci at Large. Not my favourites in the series, to be honest. The sequel does a lot of right things in comparison to the first film, but it's not I don't think it's quite there in terms of being as good as. But he did also do the third and final Daijin film, Wrath of Daimajin, which is actually just as good as the first and does improve on the second. So yeah, it does have that going for him. So yeah, this film clocks in 86 minutes long, so comfortably the shortest in the trilogy. And yeah, we last saw Ninja Ishikawa Gyuman as he was about to be boiled alive. So slight spoilers for the second film. But a good ninja is both hard to find and even harder to kill. With the help of the enigmatic Hattori Hanzo, Gunman lives to skulk another day and sets his sights on bringing down the warlord who tried to turn him into soup. Toyotomo no, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Um, my pronunciations of these are probably all wrong. And as always, in the background, the subtle hand of Tokugawa Aisio, or Aisyu, is pulling strings as he plots to rule all of Japan. So we got a inkling of his character in the second film. He was really, really rather conniving. He was like, I'll wait for people to fight each other and then I'll fight whoever's left. It's basically like that in a lot of ways. Or maybe that was Hideyoshi. Could have been one or the other. But regardless, he is a very conniving person. But like with the previous film, this once again changes up the tone while the plot feels less cluttered. That said, I would say this overall feels a little less satisfying, and the violence has definitely been somewhat reined in, which is shown by the fact that the first 2 films got a rating of 15, and this third film gets a rating of only 12. So yeah, it's definitely nowhere near as violent. It's probably why um, the first 2 are on their own disc, because you could rate them the same because they are basically the same in terms of violence, whereas this one is a lot more reined in. Despite those aspects, though, this is still engrossing overall. The way this ends is satisfying, even if other parts of the plot aren't. It is well paced, the action scenes are entertaining, the cinematography is on point, and production is once again convincingly done, even if there's not quite as much spectacle this time around either. So, yeah, I'm giving it 4 out of 5 still, like I gave the previous 2, because even though I do have more issues with this one than I did with the prior ones, I still think it, ends the whole arc of this story that's taken place over 3 films in a really rather quite satisfying way, even if other aspects aren't quite as satisfying. So, yeah, overall, a really, really good box set. Like I said, I didn't have any expectations for this box set whatsoever, considering I've not seen the films before, I've not seen anything from the lead actor before, and even though obviously I've seen a lot from one other actor in them, he was only in 2 of the 3. So, yeah, didn't have great expectations, but on the whole, really, really satisfied with it. So yeah, we're getting reversible artwork as well for Resurrection. As you can see, keeps the yellow and black theme that you've got going on with the main box artwork, which also has other artwork on the rear as well, which again I quite like. And you got that on the side. And we also get a booklet that's included in the first case, and nothing on the back. And inside we've got Shinobi. We've got the cast and crew for all 3 films. Then we've got A Band of Assassins by Jonathan Clements from 2024. Tomoyoshi Murayama, Modernist Master from 2024 by Diane Way Lewis. Then a film made with zoom lenses from 1962 by Yasukaze Takamura. And then transfer notes and credits. So yeah, in terms of the transfer, where are we? Should be here somewhere. Oh, there we go. So each film in the Shinobi series was transferred in high definition by the Kadokawa Corporation and supplied to Radiance Films as high definition digital remasters. So Yeah, they've not been restored in 4K or 2K or anything like that, but they do still look pretty good for the most part. I would say the sound at times was a little bit on the it was on the peaking side of thing in terms of the first film. Did sound like the sound was straining at times, but outside of that, still really, really rather good. And then we get I think 6 art cards on the whole. So minor spoilers for the films, but there's no real major ones. That's our lead star. Again, not seen anything else from him before. There he is again. That's from the first film. Doing some acrobatics there. There's a lot of good ninja, you know, action scenes, stunts and stuff like that. You use the ninja stars. You got the black clad costumes. You got the using the hook grapple hooks. So yeah, it's all really really rather nicely done in that regard. And I do believe this is the first film. These were the first films to depict ninjas in the way that we know them and all of that. And I do believe I'd like to say that this inspired the film James Bond film "You Only Live Twice" in terms of way of one of the assassins tries to kill James Bond with the string drooping down from the ceiling that has a hole cut in it, and then down to his lips, and then have poison slowly drip down the string. That's a scene that's actually in this film. So yeah, and I do, and it makes me feel like that inspired that film "You Only Live Twice" because obviously that's mostly set in Japan, has ninjas in that as well. So yeah, it does kind of feel like that was this slightly inspired that in some regard because I've never seen that type of assassination done in any other film from the same period as this. So yeah, it does feel like that. But overall, a really really good box set. Um, Probably as good as the Bounty Hunter trilogy that also had the same one of the same stars in it. But he was obviously in all three of these, whereas only in two of these ones. But still, 4 stars all round for all three films. So overall, a 4-star box set, which is pretty good on the whole. And yeah, one that has more than met my any expectations that I had or didn't have at all. So yeah, get out there and get it if you haven't already. If you have seen any of these films, I'd like to hear your thoughts on them. If you've seen any of the subsequent films after these three, I'd like to also hear your thoughts on those because yeah, I'd like to see if they're worth getting into, and who knows, maybe another box set of those films will be released in the future, which I'd kind of like to see, to be honest. So yeah, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.